Will.
Welcome, everyone. We want to welcome you to our Redox Nurse Talk. This is the last one for 2023, and we've had such an amazing year with awesome guests, and we really appreciate them taking their time to share with us. So, we're going to do a disclaimer. Start off with redox molecules do not diagnose, treat, or cure any disease. They just help the body do what it needs to do to keep you healthy. So, and also some housekeeping rules. If you're going to be moving around, just take your camera off so it's not distracting to our speaker. At the end, we will have some question and answer time if Anita is open to that.
Sure.
And but I want to introduce, first of all, my co-host, Doria Stewart. Doria's from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to let her talk to you a little bit and tell you her story.
All right. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you. I'm so excited because Cindy, like she said, well, our anniversary is coming up in January, and we really didn't know how this was going to go. We kind of just went by the seat of our pants the first few months, but we're just very blessed for the people that have been so gracious to come on to be our guests. So if you're on the call and you are hearing that, thank you. So for me, like Cindy said, in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been on this beautiful gift of redox for 4 years. It was introduced to me by a dear friend who's a dentist, and I saw it to be something. I was interested in it because I'm open to all kinds of forms and modalities. And I really didn't see a need for it for myself because I really didn't think I had any health challenges until I started taking the product and realized that I was having better sleep and I have much more endurance and flexibility. I still work as a nurse 12, well, usually about 8 to 10 hours a day. 3 days a week is what I work now. But like Anita was just sharing before we started the recording, her brother is a urologist and he's in his 70s and he runs circles around the younger ones. So that's kind of like what I do at my job. I work as an endoscopy nurse and recovery, and I stand all day. So a lot of the young people are constantly complaining of their joints aching and their backs hurting and they don't think they can make it through the day. So it's allowed me to do all those things and many other things, but this is not about me. So I want to get back to my dear partner, Miss Cindy Reed, let her share her story.
Okay. When I was introduced to this, I was looking for more alternatives, more natural type ways to manage your health. And so, with some health challenges that I was having, this has done some pretty good. I've had some pretty good results with it, and the fact that there's no competition, that's a business plan right there. So, I've been pleased with the product, the technology, and as well as the company and their ethics as well. So, and as you get into this, if you do, you will learn more and more about the heart of the company, which has been amazing. So, we're going to watch a short video. Our guest tonight is Anita Melograna, and Doria will introduce her, and she has some amazing stories you don't want to miss. So let's go ahead and watch our short video for anybody that hasn't seen or heard about the technology. This is just a simple explanation of how this works.
Hello, my name is Alan Noble and welcome to RailRedoxResults.com. On this website, you have access to lots of videos of real people sharing real results that they've experienced using ASEA's advanced redox signaling technology. You can simply browse through the videos or pick a particular subject that is important to you. However, if this is your first introduction to ASEA, then allow me to give you a brief overview so you can better understand why people are experiencing such amazing results. ASEA Redox represents a cutting-edge health and anti-aging technology, a new category in science that for 2 decades science had declared was impossible. A technology that many experts are calling the single greatest health science breakthrough of our lifetime. A great place to start is to get clear on what ASEA Redox is not. It is not a vitamin, a mineral, antioxidant, exotic juice, essential oil, or CBD oil. In fact, this technology goes beyond nutrition and ingredients, and yet can impact your health at a depth that no other supplement has ever come close to achieving. For many people, ASEA Redox is the missing link to better health and vitality. To grasp this breakthrough, you must understand that your body is the most complex communication network on Earth. Every second of every day, your cells pass tremendous amounts of important information throughout the body. Any breakdown in this communication, in this signaling, and you cannot achieve your full health potential. A simple example, your home goes on fire and you call the fire department. They have the fire truck, firefighters, fire hose, everything they need to put out the fire. However, if you don't have a good cell signal, they don't get the message and your home goes up in flames. Well, it's the same in your body. If your cells can't signal, then little else matters. ASEA Redox is the world's first redox signaling supplement that harnesses the power of the same redox signaling molecules that your body uses for this critical signaling process. This astonishing technology with two delivery systems, the ASEA Redox drink and the topical gel, Renew 28, has been validated by third-party independent science, and thanks to multiple patents, there is nothing else like it in the world. In a recent independent 8-week study with Torre Laboratories, a leading genetic research lab, it was found that drinking ASEA Redox could increase important gene signaling pathways by up to 31%, impacting 5 major areas of health: immune function, inflammatory response, cardiovascular and digestive health, as well as hormone balance. So at this point, let's take a listen to what health and medical professionals are saying about ASEA's redox signaling technology.
Inside every cell in your body, you're constantly producing negative and positive molecules called oxidants and reductants. And the contraction of that name is redox.
So with these molecules, we're amping up that communication. We're helping that cell signal.
Without these cell signaling molecules, we simply wouldn't do the gene replication that we need, the DNA sequencing that we need. These redox signaling molecules interact throughout the body with every cell that we know.
Every cell in our body needs these molecules for communication purposes. The more balanced they are, the more abundant they are, the healthier we are.
ASEA actually has the combination of the oxidants and the reductants that the body makes. So all we're doing with ASEA is enhancing what the body is already doing.
Having a product, a technology that's native to the body doesn't have to worry about detoxifying it because it knows exactly what to do with redox molecules. It's one of, if not the safest recommendation I ever make to a patient.
They found a way to stabilize them outside the body. And you can actually put them back into bodies that are deficient in those molecules. That's a game changer.
To have something that at its molecular level is native to the body is nothing short of a breakthrough.
This is something that's foundational for health, for every cell. It affects every cell in our body. And not just the cells, but the very DNA within those cells. You know, we talk about the discovery of DNA as being a huge breakthrough, the discovery of penicillin. Yes, these were absolutely huge discoveries, but now we have something that actually goes even deeper.
Redox signaling molecules are like the DNA whisperer. They signal cells to be healthy. And because of age, because of medications, because of toxicity in the environment, you lose your ability to make the redox signaling molecules. So having them with ASEA simply replenishes what your body is doing natively when you were young. You know, I've been in the business for 40 years, and this is the first time that I've ever heard about the redox signaling molecules, which to me is a breakthrough of the 21st century, akin to the electric light bulb in the 20th century and maybe even the discovery of penicillin. Because your body is a redox signaling program, and to be able to replenish it on a day-to-day basis, internally and externally, is not just a breakthrough, it's a game changer.
So as you can hear, ASEA Redox truly is being hailed as the most significant health science breakthrough of our lifetime. And it's not just health. Casual athletes, all the way to Olympic athletes, are experiencing improvements in endurance, strength, and recovery, beating personal bests and breaking documented world records. In a recent university study, mice drinking ASEA for only 7 days ran 29% further to exhaustion due to significant metabolic shifts as their body started to burn more fat as fuel. And I'm sure you've heard it said that seeing is believing. Well, this same technology, when applied to the skin, results in a healthy, clear complexion, tighter, younger-looking skin, while dramatically reducing wrinkles, stretch marks, cellulite, and many other signs of aging, all while using the body's natural renewal processes. I want to thank you for taking some time and watching this brief overview. I would now encourage you to explore some of the other videos featuring people that I've had the pleasure of interviewing over the last year or so. Real people sharing real redox results. This is Alan Noble thanking you for your time today, and bye for now.
Okay, we're back. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Dory and let her introduce Anita tonight and give her bio, and then we will let Anita take it from there.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Cindy. So I had the pleasure to introduce to you Anita Melograna. I met her in Orlando, Florida, I guess maybe a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago. And Anita lives presently in Morrison, Florida, just north of the New World Equestrian, I'm not sure if I should say that right, Center in Ocala, Florida. Her career of 30 years has been in IT, 14 of those years working in AT&T as a network engineer, and then running her own company in the Mid-Atlantic region, designing computer networks for one of the biggest food chains, I guess, in the United States. Her love for horses started back in the 80s, where she lived in Bucks County in Pennsylvania, where she raised thoroughbreds. She's a private pilot. She's a cellular health coach and an entrepreneur at heart looking to make a difference in the world. So Anita, I want you to share with us about how this gift of redox signaling molecules piqued your interest.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Doria. Thanks, Cindy. So I'll go back to before ASEA. I had been suffering for 18, 19 years with a bad back, bad knees. I had played a lot of sports. I fell off a lot of horses, did a lot of things that really beat up my body. And I was 61 years old, and my brother, who now lives in Florida, at the time he lived in Annapolis, and I lived in Pennsylvania, he came to see me, and he saw me driving up my driveway to get my mail. And he's like, what is going on with my athletic sister? Okay. And I said, well, I don't complain to you because, your patients complain to you. I'm, really suffering. I'm taking Tramadol and Aleve and Tylenol, and I'm miserable. And honestly, at 61, I didn't know how I was going to keep living like that. I mean, not suicidal, but very miserable. Really, I didn't like me. Okay. And I'd given up my horses because I couldn't ride anymore. I really couldn't pick up a bag of grain or a bale of hay or really do anything around the farm. So I still lived on my farm, but I lived there without my animals. And I learned to fly because I couldn't sit in my car for 3.5 hours to go see my brother or go see anybody, really. So I bought an airplane, and I would pick my mother up, and I'd take her down to Annapolis to see my brother because that was her favorite child. And if you knew my brother, you'd know why. But 20 minutes in a plane, I could sit that long. But I've been sitting here now for half hour. I couldn't sit that long. I was in agony. And anyway, so my brother comes to see me, and he said, do me a favor and just drink this stuff. That's what we called it. This is 11 years ago. And I started to drink it. And in about 3 days, I ended up feeling like, I wonder if I can not have to take all those pills. Let me see if I can wean myself off. And if you've ever taken Tramadol, it's a very tough thing to stop. I would only take a half a tramadol because I knew I never wanted to get addicted to that opioid or any drug really. But I couldn't do anything. So anyway, I started drinking ASEA. And about 3 weeks after I started, I literally jumped out of bed. And to go from needing a chiropractor 3 times a week, and I couldn't even bend over and get my clothes on easily, to jumping out of bed was like, oh my, what happened? Right. And I was kind of shocked, and I thought, oh, well, maybe it's temporary. Well, about 3 months later, I want to see if I can share this picture. Do I have to do a share screen to show this picture?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think so. Yes.
Okay, here. All right, let me see if I can show you this. Okay. There you go. All right, that should come up. Okay. So I was noodling around and climbing up on cabinets because I was really feeling great. This is like 3 months after starting ASEA. And I slipped off a chair. I mean, really, I do a lot of fun things, but slipping off a chair is not in my world a fun thing to do. And I threw my wrist out because my granite countertop was nearby, and I didn't want to hit my head, so I threw my wrist out, and there was no connection in my wrist. The doctor said it was one of the worst cases he ever saw, and he was a wrist surgeon. So what are you looking at? The radius and the ulnar completely no connection whatsoever. And he put a plate in and some screws, and he said, "Come back in a week, and I'll X-ray you. I just want to make sure it's all lined up okay." And I went back in a week, and he said, well, the ulna, which is the little bone here, was completely mended. And he's kind of scratching his head, but I didn't know any better. So I came back 3 weeks later, and he x-rayed me again, and he walked in and he said, something's wrong with your chart. I mean, you don't want to hear that from your doctor. I said, what do you mean? And he said, it says you're 61, but you healed like you were 10. And he said, what did you do? And I looked at him, I went, I drink this stuff, right? Because I mean, I really didn't know how to explain it. And it is kind of one of those things when you start, you don't know how to explain it. So, at any rate, he put me in an air cast, and I was especially lucky because the next day was a big regional event in Rockville, in Maryland. And I was able, because I didn't have a cast on, to drive there. And I met not only Vertus and Tyler wasn't there, but Dr. Samuelson was there. He's the person who stabilized these molecules. And I got to sit around and hear a lot of stories about people that had been helped. And my brother, the doctor, was there, and they thought I was his wife because we both had the same last name. And I was kind of listening in on all these stories that I probably wasn't supposed to be hearing. But at any rate, I heard them anyway. I won't repeat them. But at any rate, so about a year later, I decided that what am I doing? I can ride again. So I went and I got a horse. Let me do a stop share of that picture. And I went and I got a horse that was young. It's the Palomino in the back, if you can see it on my wall. And I thought, that's the love of my life is horses. Well, and all animals, but especially horses. And so I got a horse again, and I now have a farm at Ocala, and I have 4 horses here and 3 dogs. And I'm 72. I'll be 73 in February. I feel like I'm 50. Okay. The difference between what I felt like then, when I shattered my wrist, that no longer could be a placebo. Those x-rays didn't lie. Those x-rays proved that there was some extraordinary healing. Now, I did drink a lot more SIA during that crisis. I didn't just drink the 2 ounces twice a day as when I started. I definitely upped my dose. But in 11 years, I have seen so many things. And the other thing I want to talk a little bit about are the horses that I've helped here in Ocala, because what I'm trying to do here is educate people because they just don't know. They just don't know what it is we have. So there's a couple horses that came with severe injuries. Let me see if I can do a share screen and find that real quick. Here, I think I can show you a picture here. Here, hang on one second. Can you see that picture?
Yes.
Okay. This is a horse that lives about an hour north of me. And somebody in Atlanta actually had called me and said, hey, my friend's horse got hurt, and they wanted to put the horse down, or they they suggested the only other option was surgery. They gave it a 30% chance of survival, and they said it would be $8 to $12,000. And, the woman didn't have that kind of money. So, so long story short, I got her some product. I cleaned it up with the ASEA liquid. Got a spray bottle. I gave her a spray bottle and I told her to clean the wound up really good. We shaved the hair down and we packed it with the topical Renew 28. And I'm going to show you what it looked like 6 weeks later. I won't bother you with women. That's 4 weeks later. This is 6 weeks later. Not only did the horse is a sound, which means he can run and he's not injured and he's not, limping or lame. But he's happy again. The woman, now this is her toolbox now, because you still need your horse stuff, right? You need your horse probiotics and your horse spray and things like that. But she knows that ASEA liquid and Renew 28 topical gel is something she will never be without. And then I'll just tell you about another quick horse here. So this horse had been injured a year before it came to my farm. And the injury was way down here at the bottom. Now, you got to remember, both these horses have injuries where there's no circulation. There's no circulation getting it to help it heal, no matter what you do to it. So having it get better is basically pretty much a miracle. When the horse came to me, it looked like this, right? No bloody. It looked like a bowed tendon for anybody that knows horses, but it didn't look like a bowed tendon, but the horse was lame. So I started to put the Renew. In fact, what I did is when the mother came to visit, I asked her, I said, look, I shook the tube up and I said, I can, wait a minute, hang on. My computer's getting screwed. I don't want to do that. I want to get to this, there. I want to get to this. So I said to her, I said, I shook this up and I ate some. And I said, this is safe enough for me to eat. Can I try to get your horse better? I'm just going to put it on its legs. Is it okay with you? And they're like, yeah, sure. What do I have to lose, right? It wasn't even her money. Well, this is the horse today. This was 3 weeks later. The horse is not only sound, but they are galloping this thing. They're actually teaching it tricks. Okay. So that's a horse named Chelsea. So she lives here now. Let me just do a stop share. She lives here now, and she's not a companion horse anymore. She is a horse that is being used for what they intended. And, the girl is 19 years old. She rides the horse. In fact, she was here today. And so one of the things that I want to do personally is to spread the word to people with their pets, because we've helped many kinds of animals with different problems. But if I have time, Doria, do I have time to talk about my mom a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So, the first thing that my brother and I thought of when he and I started to take ASEA, and we both noticed some changes pretty quickly, and I got to say they were pretty quick. Not always, does that happen. But immediately, our 91-year-old mother, who we could see was starting to decline, nobody had lived that long in our family, and we decided that we needed to start her. So we started her at 2 ounces twice a day. And nothing real big changed. I mean, she kind of stayed about the same. When she was about 93, we realized, because we were learning more, we realized that just wasn't enough replacement of these signaling molecules at her age, right? And she didn't have a lot of money. So getting 2 cases of ASEA a month was a bit of an expense for her, but I'll tell you how she justified it. Well, first of all, I'll tell you what it did for her. When she was 96, she broke her hip. And I know both nurses will tell you that when a 96-year-old breaks their hip, a lot of times they die. They don't make it through surgery. And we had to get her on and off a blood thinner because she had had heart surgery about 30 years before that and had a new aortic valve and was on Coumadin, which is a blood thinner. So we had to adjust all that, manage all that to get her into surgery and then get her back out and back into her apartment. She was in rehab for 3 weeks. I hired somebody full-time to come back to her independent apartment. In about a week, she kicked them out. She said, I don't need these people. Get them out of here. And she lived in her independent apartment till 99. And she played bridge She didn't deteriorate. She never got a cold. She never got COVID. Um, and um, she didn't deteriorate the way her friends were. And what she said to me was, I'm spending a couple $100 on a Sia. And she said, but my friends, they're going to assisted living and they're spending all their money on assisted living. So her apartment was like 3 grand a month, and assisted living started at 7,500, went up to 15,000 a month. Okay. And she said, I'm not only staying out of assisted living, but I'm able to go and be free and do what I want with my life. And she had friends, she had a boyfriend. I mean, she just, she did so many things that people that age don't do. And she didn't really start to feel like I've had enough until COVID hit. And when COVID hit, the place was locked down. They wouldn't let them up and down their hallway. They wouldn't let them do anything. They barely let me go see her, but I told them that I had to fill her pill box, so they had to let me in once a week, but only once a week. I mean, usually I went like 3 times a week. Wouldn't let me. So, any rate, I really feel like I had my mother for a lot more years. No one had lived past 91 in our family. Brother died at 59, dad died at 69. Everybody else was dead by 88. And, so to have mom that long but well, I have a picture of her at her 99th birthday. And I mean, nobody believes it. They think she's like in her 60, like 65 or 70. Nobody believes she was 99 years old. But, so, she didn't have a disease. She didn't have some diagnosis, but that didn't matter. She knew that she was staying healthier and she was living better. And she also would listen to Frank. Thank goodness she listened to my brother. She knew he knew more than she did. And she listened to him. He said, Mom, you need to take this. And, so we didn't have that typical argument you have with family members where they don't necessarily be open-minded. Because he is a doctor, she did accept that a little bit easier, and I recognize that. So I didn't have to argue with her about, hey, Ma, you got to spend this money on this. So that was kind of good. But yeah, she was 99 when she passed, and then I moved to Florida 2.5 years ago because Frank moved 3.5 years ago to Florida. So I had to basically follow him. He's
I
really
love
the
it.
only family I have left, really. So,
What a blessing. That's the thing. We know that this beautiful blue bottle that's a gift of hope is not eternity in a bottle,
right.
but to live
Yeah.
a quality of life like she did until, 9 more years.
Yep.
That's what we all want, to live a healthy, have a health span life that's
Hmm.
full of health, and, not be what Cindy and I've witnessed is people in nursing homes that are incontinent, can't walk, or
Hmm.
just dependent on their family members. So that's what my heart is too, is to live as long as I can, healthy,
It's
and
healthy.
not deal with
Yep.
any those health conditions. So
Hmm.
you've been in Ocala, Florida for 2 years now,
Yep.
correct?
Yeah. Well, 2.5
Okay.
years. Yep.
Okay. So are you known? Do people know you in the area, like horse trainers or other like
I, I
veterinarians?
I've been trying to, meet people here. Right behind me is a veterinarian, and at least I have all my neighbors with horses. They've all come to me with, "Oh, I've got this critical problem," and unfortunately, most of them haven't taken pictures. But the vet behind me had a horse with an injury and down to the bone, and he was not expecting it to heal very well at all. So he called me and said, "Can I grab a couple of those tubes of Renew I heard you talking about?" Sure. I mean, I'm not going to go, oh, you got to sign up. And no, your horse has got a catastrophe. We got to fix it. And he kept texting me saying, I can't believe how this is healing. So I am getting the word out here. I mean, obviously it's slower than I want because I go 10 miles an hour. I want to go faster because I don't want animals to suffer. That's the reality.
Yeah.
But people won't, if they don't know about it, they won't be able to help their animals. I
No.
have a year-old Aussie. I mean, I have a 2-year-old Aussie and a year-old Aussie. The year-old Aussie sees me pick up my blue bottle and is right at my feet. And he's trying to drink it before it comes out of the bottle because I pour him a cup. The other one, I have to syringe. She doesn't like it, but that's okay. But yeah, I give my dogs ASEA as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, I have a dog and she won't drink it, but I put Renew 28 on her belly at least twice a day. Yeah, and
It'll
she's
lick it off.
healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Well, the
it's
Aussies,
safe, you can eat it,
yeah, but the Aussies have so much fur that I that's why I don't spray it. I have a syringe and I just syringe it in her mouth. One of these days she'll learn to accept it. In fact, I have a new plan for tomorrow. I'm going to switch her water bowl, and I'm not going to put water in it. I'm actually going to just put ASEA in it. But no metal in the bowls, everybody. No metal, for dog bowls or cat bowls or whatever. Just plastic or glass or something like that. Ceramic. Um,
I have one other question to ask you. Actually, two. I guess there may be twofold here, but you said you met Vertus. So what was that
yes.
like? Tell us
Oh,
a bit about that.
well, okay. So I met Vertus the first time in 2012 at a launch in Rockville. And we started to talk. And he was so interesting because he remembered me talk, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but I think he asked me where I lived or what did I do or something. And I told him that I used to do the computer networks at what the ShopRite was they had like 300 stores in the East Coast. And Wakefern is the corporate entity, but ShopRite are the names of the stores. That's what people would know it as. And he said, well, I was asked to be on their board, and they were going to give me 3 ShopRite stores to be on the board. Now you have to understand, ShopRite stores make at least $1 million a year in profit. Okay, each store. Many store owners had 3 stores or 10 stores or 20 stores, but they all did very well. And he turned it down because he went to work for Kraft Foods in a position of strategic planning. But that's how badly ShopRite wanted him because they knew how smart this guy was. So, but what was interesting about him is years later at events, he would call my name and say, "Hey, Anita, tell him about how we almost met at ShopRite 10 years ago or something like that," right? His memory, now he was 69 when he really started ASEA. So for him to have that kind of memory recall, and he was in the 70s already when when I saw him additional times. But here's another thing I didn't really talk about. My brother and I both noticed, and this was not quick, this was not after months, but we both noticed that our memories were phenomenal. I'll give you an example. Um, when a patient would come to see my brother, maybe he saw him 2 years ago and he didn't remember their names. He had to look at their chart and whatever. Well, one day when Frank and I were comparing notes, because we talk just about every day after work, and he called me, he said, this guy named Joe came into the office and he said, I hadn't seen him for 2 years. And I was saying, Joe, last time you were here, you had this and this and this, and I told you to do that, and blah, blah, blah. And he's going through these details, and Joe's looking at him and he goes, Dr. Melograna, you barely know my name when I come in every 2 years. What, did you get my chart out already? And he said, no, as a matter of fact, I didn't, your chart's not here yet. Yeah, I'll have the nurse get it. Word for word, my brother was able to recall, and again, just spontaneously detail that he couldn't believe. The other thing, and of course, I noticed the same kinds of things too. They're not patients, but other things. But what he notices is that his staff will say to him, "Hey, do you remember that patient yesterday? Blah blah blah. Detail." And he'll go, "Oh yeah, I did this, I did that, and that's what I recommended." And they'll go, "How do you remember?" They pull the notes up and they go, "That's word for word. How did you do that?" The other doctors can't remember what they did in the morning by the afternoon, let alone the day before, especially if you see a lot of patients. In an average week now that he's been here for about 2 years now. Well, he's been here 3 years now. He saw the week before Thanksgiving, he saw 162 patients, and Friday did 17 surgeries. He's going to be 75 years old. And I bet if I asked him after that day, hey, what'd you do today? He could probably tell you every single thing he did. And he didn't have a bad memory, but we didn't have exceptional memories. And this is something that I feel that I've done nothing else. I mean, I haven't done some other supplement that's supposed to improve my brain. I've only done ASEA. So I can only attribute it to that. But we have really fun stories about, these exchanges about, hey, you know what I remembered, and in fact, the other thing I'll tell you that's funny that he did, he went to his college reunion back in high school. I'm sorry, a high school reunion, and he played football in high school, and he sat around with the classmates that were left of his football team, and he was recalling to them, do you remember the play against Senior Woods? And, we were on the 10th yard line and somebody threw a pass to Joe and George Cat caught it. And these guys are going, what in the world? Where what do you have a tape on it somewhere? I mean, the people around him cannot believe it. I mean, it's really astounding. And I am not exaggerating. It is just incredible. But that's just something that you don't notice like a particular day, but it seems to come gradual. And, when you get older and older and older, those things should be getting worse, not better. So I think it's one of the most remarkable things I think it's done.
Yeah, that's incredible. Wow. And that's without the cell performance. That's just taking the ASEA liquid,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That was just
Wow.
ASEA.
It's
Yep. We
wonderful.
noticed all that way before cell performance came out.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Cindy, I'm going to hand it over to you. Let you ask any questions you have, hon.
Anita, that was amazing testimony. I'm just blown away by the results that you and your brother, and obviously the animals that you come in
Yeah.
contact with, have as well. When you go out, how do you share, or so do you do this full time? Are you still working with horses on the full time level?
Well, I only take care of my own.
Okay.
I mean, so I don't breed anymore. I mean, I just take care of my own. I ride, that that kind of thing. But so I'm really retired, but I mean, I'll be 80 or 90 and I'll still be telling people about ASEA. It's really out of gratitude, because without that, I wouldn't have my horses. I wouldn't have the life I have. I wouldn't have the ability to do what I want to do. And physically have the ability. So really I wake up in the morning, I thank Dr. Silverman, who told my brother, I thank my brother, and I thank Vertus, because I just wouldn't have the wonderful life that I have. So I am retired, but do I still tell people about ASEA? You better believe it. I don't. If somebody's within 3 feet of me, you can usually find an opportunity to talk about it. A lot of times, people will say to me, "How old are you?" Or you're like what, 55, or something like that. And these aren't guys; these are girls. And I'll go, really? Yeah, yeah, you think so? Well, I can whip circles around you and you're 50, and it's really because how I feel. But so people notice the energy. I usually up at 6:30. I don't go to bed till 11. I sleep right through the night, unless the dogs happen to wake me up and need to go out, but then I go right back to sleep. But so things like energy and sleep, oh God, they were just inconsequential compared to the other things. Yeah, they all happen. Those things happen too. But there were much bigger things that happened.
So what would you say to someone that basically is very negative or opposed to it and not open to it? How do you react
Well,
to that?
well, you know what? I actually ask people a very simple question. And because people will tend to tell me their problems, they'll tend to tell me, or they'll just be complaining. And um, I'll simply say, if I knew something that could help you that's not a drug, would you want to know what it is? That's all. And if they say, no, I don't want to know, fine. Hey, off my chest, right? Not on my conscience anymore. If they say, what are you talking about? And I might say, well, can I tell you a little bit about what it's done for me? Or again, it depends on the person and where we are and, how much time I have. But a lot of times I always carry a little tube of Renew, okay, little sample. I also carry the blue tube of the Renew Advance, because that's easier to carry in my purse than this, because I don't feel like carrying a big purse. But I'll say, let me put a little dab on the top of your hand. Let me just rub it in. Show me your hands. Just compare them. And most of the time, people will go, oh, wow, those skin cells look shiny and new, and they look dead. Oh, really? Hmm. And from there, you can usually get, they'll usually say, well, do you use that? Or, they'll start to ask questions. And depending what they're asking, what I'll say. I do invite them to something to watch, like either the video you just played. When I first saw things like that, I didn't understand it. I was like, what? Okay, that's such cool video, but I didn't understand really what it meant, to me. So I try to understand what their problem is so that I can try to help them. And my business in IT was solving problems. So I come at whatever I'm doing in a what problem am I solving for you? Right? I mean, you just want to feel better. You want to try to get something improving that's not so good right now. You want to, be as young and healthy as you want to be. What do you want? And yeah, so I mean, obviously I could talk forever. So
I like your approach, though. That's amazing. I don't have any more questions, Doria. If anyone else wants to unmute and or raise your hand and ask questions for Anita. Are y'all tired or just shy?
I don't bite. I don't bite, promise. I don't bite.
While somebody's trying to think of a question, what about the culture of the company? What has that meant to you?
Well, I think one of the thing I love about the company is the culture. I don't know that I would work as hard at sharing it. I mean, certainly the product speaks for itself, but the culture of helping each other. For example, I'm not in any of your group, right? Doesn't benefit me to come and try to help you in explaining this or participating. Um, that shouldn't matter, and it doesn't matter. I help what's called cross line, which again, meaning that we're not necessarily in the same group, but we're all part of ASEA. So what difference does it make? But to me, some of the best things that happen here, I'm going to see if I can just show you one other picture because it's just great. Hang on one sec. Let me just do a share and see if I can find this. I think I had to open it first. Hang on, let me try to open it. Hang on just one second. I got so many things on my computer here. Okay. All right, I think if I open that and then I do a screen share, or not that one. Okay. Now I'm going to do a share because I think this will open now. Okay. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So this was a friend in California. Wife couldn't get pregnant. And this is what makes me happy. Okay. Getting a picture. His name is Liam. He's 7 years old now. I get pictures all the time from the family. Thank you for our ASEA baby, because they felt that it wasn't, and one of the things that when you talked about all those genes that get activated, one of the genes that gets activated in kind of a cascading effect is the fertility gene. So it's no surprise that they got a baby, but this is what I mean, besides the animal stories, this is like, how can you not love that? He's just adorable. And I'm going to marry him someday.
Precious.
Any rate, but the culture is important because it's not what you say you're going to do, but what you do. Um, the company has always done for people. They don't think about, well, how much money are we going to make? And I'm going to give you an example. Okay. One of my girls has a patient that has MS, and the patient's in a wheelchair, really has zero money to buy anything that looks like ASEA, even a tube of Renew. So this little girl, she's so sweet. She cashes in her loyalty points to get Renew because she knows that if she puts the Renew on her, at least she will get something improving, and she cashes in her points. Well, apparently she had cashed in her points that month, and you can only do 300 a month, at least that's the way it was. And she called ASEA up and she said, I'm trying to cash in more points. I want to get some more Renew for my patient, and it's not letting me. And they said, oh, wait a minute. No, you already cashed in all you got to wait till next month. And she said, "Oh, I can't make her wait till next month." And she's looking, and this girl doesn't have any money. I mean, this girl does not make a lot of money. And Asia, the girl on the phone said, "Amy, tell me what this is about." And so Amy explained, how she uses her points to buy the woman Renew, and that the woman's legs are starting to have feeling. In fact, she was complaining because she has sensation in her legs because Amy's putting it on her legs in addition to other places. And the patient in a wheelchair is having some improvement. And Amy didn't want to stop the cycle of improvement. So Asia said, "Are you still at this address, Amy?" And read her the address. And Amy said, "Yes. We're sending you 4 tubes of Reno. Don't worry about it." Okay.
Oh
When
my Lord.
when I mean, who does that? I'm sorry. No, nobody does that. That's doing what you say you're going to do, okay, which is putting people first. And you just can't put a price tag on that. That's just, and I think a lot of us feel that way, that the culture of the company is as important as the products. Um, so
It definitely is. Yeah, I love it too.
Mhm.
Marita, you have a question?
Yes, Anita, do you mind sharing with the couple that was having fertility problems how you suggested that they might have some success?
Well, if Dr. Hoffman had put together a list of, um, the 5 major genes that are activated, that the Tart Lab study, she had put together a list of genes that are kind of a cascade effect that are also improved and activated, improved, whatever word you want to use. And fertility happened to be one of them. Insulin signaling, spinal cord injury. I mean, if you read this list, it's really amazing. And I said, look, it's worth a chance. Nobody can guarantee anything, but, do you want to take a chance and try this? And it didn't take them 2 months. 2 months of drinking the woman, she was drinking it, 2 months of drinking ASEA, and she's calling me up, I'm pregnant. And that's not the only time I've had this happen, by the way. I have several ASEA babies that and the parents' gratefulness, you just can't measure that. That's, even without a paycheck, I'd still tell people about ASEA.
So were
Oh,
they
how
drinking too?
wonderful. Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, Marita. I was going to ask how much were they drinking? Did you start them at 2 ounces twice a day?
No, we started it 4 twice a day. So
Okay.
we started at 8. I said, look, you want to see results faster. You're not 10 years old. I think she was like 33 or 4, something like that. She needed to get pregnant soon, or she, going to miss her window. So I said, look, you always stop. Nobody's going to hold you to, gun to your head. But after 2 months, and then she continued right through the pregnancy. And when the baby was born, one of the interesting comments the doctor made was that the placenta was one of the healthiest placentas that she had ever seen. And because she had not had any ASEA babies, this doctor out in California, and she's like, "Wow, this is really healthy." And so that really stuck in their head, and that they were, and they continue to take it, to this day. But yeah, so he's just my boyfriend.
You were talking about the healthy placenta. I know Donna Lynn Dominguez has mentioned that when she was in her birthing center, that
Yep.
the babies that were born, the placenta was healthier, the delivery times were shorter, the women
Yep.
were just generally overall healthier during the
hmm
pregnancy.
Well, one of my other people that actually got pregnant, and she didn't know she was pregnant. She's running 5Ks, and she had had 2 or 3 children already. And so this ended up to be her next, third or fourth child. What she also noticed was that the first several children, she had very little milk. And she did want to continue breastfeeding. The third or fourth, again, I can't remember the exact number, but let's say third. The third child, she had plenty of milk. She was still on ASEA. So she started on ASEA, was running marathons, and all of a sudden she realized she's pregnant and delivers, and she continues, and she realized she had much more milk. So that was another interesting thing of another person. But this mother, I think it was her first baby. So I don't think she had anything to compare to.
That's amazing. Any other questions? We want to thank y'all for coming. And if you're new, which I recognize a lot of the names, but if anyone happens to be new or anyone watching the recording, just reach out to the person that sent you to this video or to this Zoom tonight, and they can answer any questions you may have. But do yourself a favor and check into this. You don't have to do it, you don't have to buy it, but just at least do your homework and learn the science and see what this is really about and what this can potentially do for your body. So I'm going to let Doria, we are off for the rest of the year. We will not be doing the week of Christmas. So we will be back, unless we change our mind, unless we push it back a week, we'll be back January the 2nd. And we will have a guest. Her name is Susan Pine. And she's a lady I met in Texas this year. And that's what I love about the company and the conventions. We meet so many people across the country and across the world. And we hear their stories, and then we all just connect. And like you said, Anita, we don't do it to help, ourselves when we do these things. Dory and I are not on the same team either. We're cross-line, but we just saw this opportunity and we saw this passion and what this could do. This could share or spread the word. And that's what we wanted to do. So we started working on this.
That's great. That's great. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you, Doria. Did you have anything else?
I just want to put a disclaimer in there because we've had a couple of things that we've said something in reference to diagnosis. So just remember, this is not intended to treat, diagnose, cure any medical health condition. It's just allowing the body, if you give the body what it needs, it'll heal itself. It's just opening up that communication. So if there's any dysfunction in any cell, wherever it's at, it's a tool to allow it to work more efficiently and communicate with each other. So I just want to emphasize that. But no, this has been a great call tonight. Thank you again, Anita. It was a pleasure to see you again on the Zoom and everyone else. So Merry Christmas to everyone, and we'll see you next year.
Merry Christmas, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Anita. We appreciate it.